Well, two big events this morning. The unemployment rate dropping unexpectedly to 9.4%. Plus, Ben Bernanke set to testify before the Senate Budget Committee in just about 15 minutes time from now. For more on all of this, I want to bring in Dino Kos. He spent 20 years at the New York Fed and is now at Portales Partners. Dino, great to have you back on with us. And, I was just talking to Senator Grassley, from the Budget Committee. And, with all due respect to the senator, it's the same stuff that I've heard before about Ben Bernanke printing money. It's inflationary. What is he doing? A Ponzi scheme, all that sort of stuff. But, what of substance are we going to get out of this Budget Committee hearing from Bernanke?
Well, I'm not sure we're going to learn much that is new. I mean, I think he will try to update the committee on where he sees the economy going and what the Fed is trying to do in terms of supporting the economy. So I don't know if we will learn that much. I think what was interesting about Senator Grassley's comments was more, shifting the blame because, of course, he talks about the deficits, but it is Congress that draws up the budgets. It is Congress that decides how much money is spent, and then to sort of try and shift the blame onto others, or to say, well, they should be stopping us from spending all this money. It's a bit of a fallacy. So that right. It's a symptom of what the problem in Washington is. It's a lack of discipline.
Right, and Bernanke would be reluctant in any case to talk about the federal deficit, would he not?
The specifics, what he will say is that the deficit has to be brought under control. It has to be reduced over time. And even if you need stimulus in the current regime, you have to put a plan so that over 5 years, the market has a sense that Congress will get the budget under control and that the deficit will come down and that the amount of borrowing that you draw out of the economy reduces. So right. I think he will try to make that case.
Right. The key question is, though, is Bernanke wasting taxpayer money? Because he's, put in so far, I've got to check how much exactly of that, of that QE2 that's been allocated. He's put in a certain percentage so far, and we've seen yields back up, particularly on the longer end. It's not working.
Well,
is it a waste?
I think we need to separate. I mean, nobody understands the channels through which QE2 is going to work. So one thing Bernanke said was, well, we can't cut the short-term rate anymore because it's already at zero. So we're going to try to push down the long-term rate. Well, that part of it clearly hasn't worked. But the other thing that other Fed speakers have focused on is the wealth effect. That is, if you increase the prices of assets, then you get consumer confidence increasing and consumers are more willing to spend. And indeed, over the last few months, you have seen that where
you're talking about equity.
Yes, equities, and you have seen retail sales rise. Now, there's a lot of issues with that channel, as it were, but I mean, but I think that people at the Fed would probably say, there are signs that this strategy is working, although the channels through which it's working maybe aren't fully understood, and they may be somewhat different than what they thought at the beginning. Okay,
so then that would mean that in this jobs report, where we have seen gains, that you would put part of the credit to the Fed then.
I think the job recovery would have happened anyway. We have had this slow recovery. It is a slow recovery. Nothing in this report, I think, changes my mind about that. This number was a little lower, but as you mentioned in your report, the back months were revised up.
Right.
So, if you do the nets on that, we're having a slow recovery in the jobs market. The problem from Washington's standpoint is that you need the unemployment rate to come down significantly, and we still have a 9 handle on the unemployment rate.
But it is at 9.4%.
It is, which is better than, of course, where it's been the last couple of months, but it's still very, very high. And our political system is is not equipped to deal with that high of an unemployment rate, and that's partly why you saw the tax compromise just a few weeks ago. You had the payroll tax cut and some other steps taken, precisely because they want the economy stimulated to bring down the jobless rate. But that's got its own cost because now you're worsening the budget outlook for future years.
Right, exactly. So then, how do you think this report is going to play, though, in Washington?
Well, obviously, the administration is going to look at the unemployment rate and says there's progress being made. The unemployment rate is coming down. They will try to play that up. I think more sober minds will say, we didn't really learn that much from this unemployment report. It's more steady as she goes, but very slowly.
Slow indeed. Slow and steady has been kind of the mantra over this over this recovery. Dino.
And that will continue, unfortunately.
Good to see you again.